If you want to use the Google Admin Console to manage your ViewSonic EDLA device, we're going to show you how to do that. If you're using Google for Education Fundamentals as your license in the Google Workspace console, that unfortunately does not have the features in order to manage your EDLA panel with what we call advanced management. If you want to use this, you might need to get a Endpoint Education Upgrade license, which is what we're going to show how to use in this particular video. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by assigning the license. So the way this works is you get into the admin console. Underneath billing, you'll see that there's this license setting where you can assign licenses. This will then show all users in your organization. It's important to note that these licenses can only be assigned to users. They're not assigned to devices, which is what we're familiar with Chromebooks. So I have a user here selected. I can click Assign License, and then there's the Endpoint Education Upgrade, and I will assign this license here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here to my ViewSonic panel, and you'll see here that I'm at the setup process. So I'm going to go ahead and click Start. You're going to see here the first notification is that I am going to connect to a network. Now this step can be skipped if you just want to get to the account setup and then do all that later, or you can do it right here at this screen. I'm going to go ahead and connect to the network. Now that you're connected to the network, it's going to go ahead and go to the next step of the process. While that's happening, let's go back to our admin console to look at how we make sure advanced management is set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Devices. You're going to choose Mobile and Endpoints. And then you're going to see that there's this Settings option here. And then we're going to go to Universal. What we're going to want to make sure is that under General right here is that Mobile Management. We'll click that. You'll see that there's this Custom option. And under Android, we have it assigned to Advanced. If it's on Basic, you won't be able to have Advanced Management, which includes pushing out apps and things like that. There are also other settings you can configure specific to Android. So if we click here under Settings on Android, you'll see here that you can do things like auto wipe. It's important that the work profile setup is turned on. That's part of the management. That's what Google calls it, is a work profile. But there's other settings that you can explore here as well. So we'll come back to our panel. We're going to continue with the setup here. Because it's an Android device, it does think you want to connect to a previous device like a phone or maybe another tablet. We're just going to say can't use the other device, and we're going to skip this. Now at this point, it's going to ask us to log in. Because I want to use advanced management, it's important that I log in with that user profile that I assigned the license to earlier. So let's go ahead and enter that now. Next, what we're going to do is we're just going to agree to the terms. And while this is processing, what we'll do is we'll go and check just a couple other things you might want to be aware of within the admin console. One of the things you'll notice if you want to control the apps is that under the apps section, you'll see that there's web and mobile apps. This is where you can go assign various apps to these work profiles. So you can see here up here, we can add an app. You can search for them. And then this is essentially going to search the Google Play Store to allow you to add an app to your list here. Once you have an app added, you'll see that there are different settings that you can configure. So under settings, we have the ability, for example, to force install this app. We have the ability to prevent users from uninstalling a specific app. But any kind of app control is going to be under the apps option under web and mobile. So let's go ahead and continue. You'll see here that it's notifying us that our account is managed. If I were to use an email that didn't have that license assigned, I would not get this notification. So it's going through the work setup profile at this point. And again, the way that Google sees these is it's a separate account, so it's considered a work profile. Now you're going to see here that there's this option to set it up as work or work and personal use. This is an important step because if we select work, the way that a managed profile works is you can only have one managed profile per device. So if I choose for work only, I will not have the ability to add other accounts. Now, the way that EDLA modules or Android devices work is you have accounts and then you have emails that are nested under those accounts. So there's an owner account. You can have 3 additional user accounts that are not equal to an owner account. and then one guest account. However, you can only have one work profile attached at a time. So if I select the work option, those additional accounts are unable to be created, right? So I'm just limited to the one user. If I choose work and personal, it will still allow the work profile, but it will also allow those additional user accounts to be created. But it's important to note that on an Android device, you can only have one work profile per device. So in this example, we're using the TS1 email that has the assigned license. If I also assigned a license to another email, say TS2, and I also tried to log on using that email, it wouldn't work because a work profile's already been assigned to one user. We have another video that goes more into how to set up users and kind of how Android handles different users. So be sure to check that out if you're a little confused at this step. I'm gonna go ahead and just do the use for work only option. We're gonna accept and continue. And then at this point, you can choose these different settings such as location access, permission access. We're just gonna go ahead and accept all of these. We'll go ahead and click next here. What it's going to do is it's going to check for any updates. It's also going to start installing different apps, right? That if you already selected apps to push out, it's going to go through this process right here. Now on this screen, you're going to notice that you get a notification that says this device isn't active. That's because one of the processes of turning on a work profile is approving the device. There's a device approval in the admin console. So let's go back to our devices list. You're going to see under the mobile and endpoints, there's this device approval list. Now, this can be something that you disable, so devices are automatically approved. Again, that's in those Android settings that I showed you earlier. We can go back and disable that so that you don't actually have to approve these. But for this, we are going to have to approve it. So I'm going to select the device. I can see here it's logged in with this email. I can see the device name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my three dots and I'm going to say approve. So that device has now been approved. It'll move out of that list and then it's going to show up here in my device list. You can see here it's up at the top. And then that completed the setup. So now what I have is a fully managed EDLA device. It's logged in with the user account that I wanted it to. If I go back to the admin console, you can see here I can click on this device. It's going to give me lots of details about the device. For example, when it's synced, who's the user, serial information, stuff like that. But more importantly, you'll notice that if I go under this more option, I can wipe the account or I can wipe the device. I can factory reset it remotely. This is important because maybe the user has left your organization and you need to wipe the account, or maybe you need to add another one. It also prevents from the account from being removed. So if I'm logged in and I wanted to go remove the account, I can't do it. Only an admin can do it by wiping the account from the admin console. You'll also see here some of those forced pin apps that I had told it to install are now installing. So this is what advanced mobile management looks like running on a ViewSonic EDLA. There are some limitations because you, for example, can't really have multiple managed profiles. However, it does give you a lot of control over the device, including being able to wipe the account, wipe the device, and install apps in different settings.